Look at it go. That is so awesome. And listen, it makes no noise. It is so satisfying as well. So today I am talking about this camera slider sent to me by Konova. Now Konova just sent me it across. They didn't ask me to do a product review on it, but I decided I'll do one anyway because I have always wanted a camera slider, especially a motorized one. I think anybody who is doing any type of like filmmaking or anything like that needs to have their own motorized camera slider. So let's get into the details. So to kick things off, one of the most appealing factors about this slider in particular is the price point. Now, if you're on the market for a slider, you could be looking at an excess of over £1,000 for a slider. For this one, which is also made out of carbon fiber, has great parallax controls, and as well has a great carry case, you could pick this up in the UK for £239. And if you're in America, you can pick it up for about $250. If you want to check it out, I've left links for both in the description below. So the slider I have here is the P1 version, and this is 80 centimeters long. And the control system is the S2. You can also remove the system back here and use it as a conventional slider as well. The slider itself is incredibly smooth. There's no jerkiness when you are operating it. It's just smooth like butter. And also what I like at the front is right here it has a brake, so I could turn on the brake and it will not move even whilst this is on. This is great as well if you've got it in your bag and prevent this bit from sliding left to right. You just lock that on so it doesn't go anywhere. The tripod head that I am using for this slider is a basic newer one, which will screw straight onto the base plate itself. I always recommend using a tripod head on the motor slider so you're not just attaching your camera straight to the slider, because this could give you a lot more flexibility while shooting as well. And if you're just attaching it to the base plate, it gives you a real limitation of what you can do. Just get a very basic newer tripod head for about 20 quid or so. A link again description below, and you've got a perfect setup right there where you can go to any angle your heart desires. So let's jump over to the motor itself. The motor actually attaches to the car itself. It then has this belt which drives itself along. I think certain other motorized sliders actually have it set at the side and then drag themselves along using the belt only. I think different ones work different ways. I'm not totally sure. I'm not a slider expert. I just enjoy the pleasures of using them. But this is also great because as this deattaches, you can actually transport it a lot easier. But I found with the bag that is supplied, you can leave the motor attached and it will still fit in the bag absolutely fine. As well, with the belt that is included that you need to attach to the slider when you get it, there is a lot more excess and extra right here, which I've just used this rubber band to put it all together. So if I need to replace this belt at any point, I still have a lot of excess left over. The motor itself is powered using these massive, I think the Sony MP batteries, the MPF960 I've got right here. This is like 8,000 milliamps, but you can get smaller ones that are maybe like half the capacity, but they will probably work all day with this. I have never run out of juice once whilst using this with this slider. I think it also works with micro USB, which I've never tried. I'm going to try it on my power bank. Wait, Alright, we're back. It's right here. I'm actually going to give it a go, see if it works. That would be really cool if this works with like a power bank. Alright, so the MP battery is out. Let's just attach this. Oh, it's powered. Oh, it works with a power bank. That is pretty awesome. That is great. So if you actually run out of juice on those batteries somehow, you can just use a power bank. That's a great option. Right, so let's just deattach this for the moment. As well, the transfer of power is worked on one of these cable 7s, or whatever they're called. Basically, it's an Ethernet cable. I've actually tried it with an Ethernet cable and it works just fine. So if this cable breaks or anything, your typical Ethernet will power this thing absolutely fine. Let's just get this thing reattached and working. Now, the system to actually control the motor is very simple, really easy to navigate. It is a little bit basic, but it does the job. That's the main thing. I'm not really here for the, you know, the experience of getting it controlled and dialed in. I just want it to do the job efficiently. So here, for example, I'm just going to set an A point and a B point. So that'll be my A point, and I'll just bring it over and then choose my B point. And then I have different options. I could do time lapse and I can do live motion. Now, when you go into live motion, there's manual mode or auto mode. Experiment with each of them, but just for this example, I'm going to set it to auto mode, and I'm going to want it to do that transition from the B point to the A point in about 13 seconds. I'm also going to ask it to ramp it. What that basically means, instead of juddering and all of a sudden just setting off, it's going to do it gradually, and that's the same when it's slowing back down and stopping. There's also the option for a loop, which basically means it will just continue doing that over and over again. And I'm going to set that to yes. And now if I press start, it will commence its little journey. And as you can see, it gradually started, and then it will probably gradually stop. And perfect, you got a really cool slider shot right there. With sliders, I also recommend setting an A point and a B point and, you know, doing the auto or manual settings, because this is just one constant speed and you really can't control it. So these just dial in those settings to get the shot perfect for you. Also, you're going to want to make sure you set an A point and a B point to prevent this from happening. Now that is one thing to also bear in mind with this slider, is when you turn it off, your settings will not be there. You'll have to redial them all in again and again. I wish it was a little bit more advanced so it just remembered some of my settings, but it's not a massive inconvenience, and setting it up again only takes maybe like 30 seconds. And as well, I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, but how silent the motor is incredible. I mean, just listen. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There are louder insects in the world than this slider. That's a fact. As I mentioned earlier in the video, this slider also has a parallax system, and to adjust it, it is really easy. All I need to do is twist these two knobs and I can change the magnitude of the parallax effect. So now if I start controlling it, you'll notice the head is starting to tilt to the right. But basically what this does is it gives your camera this radical panning effect as it tracks along the slider. And once you get it right, which I find is really easy to do, you can get some really crisp and awesome looking results. So with the parallax system and the auto loop feature, this can be a great B camera if you're also doing stuff like interviews. Say for example, you've got your main stationary A camera, like this camera is right now. You can set this off to the side and let it do its own thing and cut to that camera when you think it will be great to get that extra movement, especially if you're trying to deliver a certain line. It can drive that motion, drive that movement, all because of this slider. If you watch a lot of like Netflix documentaries, you'll probably see this kind of thing being used all the time, or any documentaries, often something like this will be used. And the great thing is as well, I have faith and know that this slider will execute this movement every single time perfectly and get what exactly I am looking for. So I only have one gripe with the slider itself, but I don't think it's the slider, but rather the tripod I am using instead. As you probably noticed throughout today's video, I have been using 2 different tripods to support it. And that is because out of the 4 tripods I have, all of them, if it's just supported by one tripod in the middle, it will start leaning left or right depending on what side it's on. If I had a heavier and more robust tripod, this might be fixed, but I don't own a tripod like that, so I've not been able to test it for myself. And this can be a little bit of an inconvenience if you do need to carry 2 tripods, especially if you're going out to shoot, because you'll have a slider, 2 different tripod bags, and also your camera bag most likely, and maybe even other equipment like lighting. So it can be a bit of a nuisance, especially if you're shooting something like a client video where you need to be quick and on it. Apart from that, this is the perfect all-round, and I think one of the best budget sliders you can get on the market today. I also forgot to mention it has these feet right here, so if you have a table or some other surface, you could just put it on the table and work on that surface instead. And yeah, I think that will conclude the review. I know this is a different video than I normally do, but I am going to be incorporating more product reviews, tutorials, and of course photography videos and vlogs. There's going to be a bit of a broader spectrum, hopefully, with the content I'm going to be releasing in the future. And hopefully you have enjoyed today's video. If there's something I've missed or you've got any questions, then please let me know in the comment section below, and I will leave today's video right there. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. I can't do that thing because the camera's too far away, so I'm just going to awkwardly sit here. And fade to black. Nice.